Hey there everyone, my name's Andrew and this is Canadian Starships. Well, it's back to the What's on the Bench series, sort of. You see, there's so many projects going on right now that all demand their own project video series, namely the 650 Scale Enterprise D project, that the What's on the Bench series has kind of gone away a little bit, but there's two projects on the bench from the What's on the Bench series that need to be finished, and those are the two 1400 Scale Enterprise E projects, and I'm getting back to working on those now that we are well underway on the priority 650 Scale Enterprise D. You see, the clients who ordered the 1400 Enterprise E's understood that I'd be working on those in between the other main project that was on the go. At the time, that was the 1000 scale Don Shoko D, but the project was upgraded to the 650 scale. Now, I really put a lot of work into those Enterprise E's while we were waiting on things to get started on the 650 scale Enterprise D, but I want to get those done so that the clients can have their kits, their models in hand. So we left off where the Enterprise E's were getting ready to be closed up. So let's get them closed up and let's get started on the seam work. But before we get started, why not take a moment and click the subscribe button, and while you're here, click on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. So I've done a little bit of work on the wiring for the saucer sections of these two 1400 scale Enterprise E's, and I have almost all of the wires condensed down to main leads for each part. So there's main leads that go off of the bottom saucer, main leads that go off of the top saucer, and then those will get joined together once the two halves of the saucers are put together, and I will be able to work on all of that through the neck here and then down through the post. There is one part that I totally forgot to connect, which I have to do, and that's the wiring for the little LED that is in the shuttle bay's observation deck. And these wires here are the ones for that. And I think the reason I forgot about that was because I did this one first, and well, I don't even have it connected here yet. So I've got to install the part, feed the wires through, and then I've got to hook those up. But I can do those through the bottom once I've got the two halves of the saucers assembled. That's not too big of a deal. So I'm going to get the observation deck installed, the wire fed through to the other side, and then we are going to simply need to epoxy all these stray spaghetti type wires down to the hull on the inside. Then we're going to be able to finish final assembly of the saucer, get the wires all connected through the neck, and get that neck part on. Progress has been made. First of the two saucer tops have been installed. It is such a spaghetti mess until it all gets down the post. It is crazy. The next step on this one will be to consolidate all of this spaghetti inside the neck with the leads running down the post. I still have to get the top saucer onto the second Enterprise E, and that's just some fiddly work to do that. So that's where we're at, and we're moving forward. And here we have both of the Enterprise E's pretty much closed up minus the neck. All I have to do is get all the spaghetti wiring consolidated, connected, and down the post. That is the next job. Working on getting all that wiring under control, and I just realized that I've missed two LEDs. The first one is the constant on that's going to go on the neck here, and the other one is on the underside where that panel goes on, and there's a constant on there as well. So I need to get those parts dealt with and get the 0402 SMDs installed into those locations, because I need to get the mains down the posts. And you can see this has been consolidated here, and I actually had to strip this back because I had the shrink tube on top, and I had to strip that back because I have to add those two 0402 SMDs, and this is the negative line going down the post, and I don't want to miss those LEDs. Over here at the main bench, because we're going to be doing some soldering, I've got some 0402 SMDs ready to go. And it's been long enough since I did this that I didn't remember what resistors I was using on those 0402 SMDs for the constant on lights. And I want to make sure that they match the look. So I peeled back the shrink tube on this one and found out which one it is. So I've got the resistors right here to match. So I'm going to get those resistored up. I'm going to get them testing overnight on the Arduino. But I also had to get these parts ready to go. I had to get the windows opened up on them, and they're looking quite nice. You've got some really nice long windows. I think that's probably the Arboretum down here. And then you've got these teeny tiny ones, but all of them look really nice. And I've got the aperture opened up for the 0402 SMDs on the neck there, and also on the appropriate spot on the bottom panel. So we'll get them tested, then installed on these parts, wired in, and then once everything else is wired in, these parts will get permanently attached. But they'll kind of be tethered for the time being with the wires for the 0402 SMDs. Two 0402 SMDs wired up, connected to the Arduino for overnight testing. As long as they survive, they will go into the parts tomorrow. So I really should be calling this a forgetful update. I originally just got 2 of the 0402 SMDs wired up, ready to go, testing, realized I actually need 4, 2 per ship. So I've got all 4 tests running here. Also forgot that I have to actually light block the inside of these parts before I install these lights, before it can be installed in the ship. So I've got to light block that before I install the LEDs, get the LEDs installed, and then get those LEDs wired up into the rest of the ship so that I can get everything closed up. So I've got the LEDs installed into those panels, and the ventral panel on the first of the 2 is installed. The clamps are just holding it in place while the adhesive does its work, but that is installed. The wiring is inside the cavity of the ship right now, and shortly I'll be able to get that hooked up and the wiring for the 0402 SMD that's going to go into the neck. So a bit of time has happened in between this clip and the last. You can see that all the wiring has been fed down the post, save for the wiring for the 0402 SMD on the neck cover, which is the last major assembly part to go on. There's been a lot of time between clips because I ran into 2 issues. First, there was a wire, a circuit in the saucer I couldn't account for. Now, that turned out just to be a issue of color of the wire. I used the wrong color, and so I wasn't even looking at that wire to find that circuit. But the other issue I had was that one of the green navigation lights, I can't remember if it was the top or the bottom, one of the 2 was misaligned to the aperture. So I ended up popping the hood on this thing, taking the top of the saucer off, and tracking down the missing wire, which turned out not to be too much of an issue. But I removed the 0402 SMD and reinstalled so that it would look right through the aperture. So with that done, the saucer top has been put back in place and all the wiring has gone down the post. I'm going to get this wiring down the post for the cover, and I'm going to get the cover on and in place. And with that in place, which I'm going to use the microcrystal clear so that's easy to pop this part off if there's ever an issue inside, because this is the main hub of all the wiring, etc. But I'm going to get this on, and that will be the end of major assembly, and then we'll be able to move on to all of the putty work, seam work, etc. before primer goes on. We'll also want to put some window masking on here. Window masks are already on the other kit, but I've got to put them on here as well. Both Enterprise E's are now fully assembled. They've had the wiring fed through to the bottom. It looks like a rat's nest. That's fine right now. And the dorsal panel has been attached. Also, the ventral panels have been attached on both of these as well. So this one is fully attached and cured. This one, the glue is currently curing. And my next step is to start working on seam work. And the area that needs the most attention as far as seam work is in the nacelles. Now you can see that I've already done some initial putty work, just some very rough putty work in there as the nacelles were attached, but that is a very bad seam and joint on this kit. There's a huge gap that you can never get away with. So much time and effort needs to be paid and attention needs to be given to where the pylons join the secondary hull, because you want that to look as smooth as possible. But all the other seam work needs to be done before primer gets put down. And that's going to be everything for this update on the 1400 scale Enterprise E projects. I didn't get to any of the seam work, but we did get the entire final assembly done, getting those final panels on with all the lighting wiring going down the post, and that is a win as far as I'm concerned. In the next update, we'll get to the seam work and maybe even get to the painting. Who knows, but the painting is my favorite part. This took a little bit longer to get that final assembly done because I had to pop the top on the saucer to sort through what I thought was a missing circuit and a misaligned LED. But it was worth it because we want to make sure that everything is as perfect as it can possibly be. So if you've enjoyed this update, make sure that you hit that like button if you're new to my channel, or you haven't done so yet, why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew, and this is Canadian Starships. Have a great day, everyone.